Throw them on, get comfortable, get comfy, and then pull the mic to you.
Hello.
That is your volume there, number 2. And yeah.
Hello, Cupcake.
Cupcake. Tom Rhodes, you're here.
James Schrader, someone I love.
We haven't seen each other in...
And you were inviting me last year to come down.
Trying, yeah, but, lives are busy. Things are happening.
Well, it finally happened.
It did.
Thanks to you.
Well, sure. Or the universe, or what, the energies, the stars aligned. And now Tom Rhodes is here. But I'm lucky you're here. I mean, you just got
like
back.
San Diego because it's Southern California without all those showbiz assholes.
Yeah. It's what everyone thinks
and the salsa.
LA actually is.
Yeah, true.
They think, like, if we had stars on the ground and every now and then a celebrity would walk by, this is what everyone thinks LA is. But you go to LA and you're like, oh, if I'm in Hollywood, this isn't Baywatch because I'm literally, depending on traffic, either an hour to 4 hours from the beach. Like, there's no actually going. Like, I don't know anyone that lives in Hollywood. It's like, oh, we went to the beach.
Yeah.
Rarely does that ever become a thing.
I was pretty obsessed with it, roller skating along the jogging bike path.
I remember that. You had
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I had the last year I haven't done it too much, but San Diego also. It's the best thing about Southern California. It's the miles and miles of bike jogging path
just along the water. Yeah.
I saw the video you posted this morning. You were like,
just went for a walk.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty is, like, I live, and this, again, unlike my friends up in LA where it's, I live 4 blocks from the beach in a overpriced small apartment in the backyard of a house, but that's what it is. And it's fine. It's a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and my kid's got a room, and she has her, whatever. We have everything we need, and we can walk to the beach in 4 blocks. And I can get to any comedy show in town in 20 minutes.
There's tons of comedy here, too.
There's a lot of comedy in San Diego. People don't realize this scene has a lot of stage time, has had ebbs and flows, but is really produced some pretty fantastic comics right now that are just killing it. I mean, you have Taylor Tomlinson that's exploded out of the San Diego scene. Yeah, I mean, hosting a TV show.
Did she grow up down here?
She grew up about 20 minutes north of here, 20 to 30 minutes north of here in a place called Temecula.
Oh, yeah.
But then she got her start in the church, kind of like there was like her church had a class that she and her dad took, and it was kind of like her mom had passed away, and she and her dad did this comedy class together at the church to like kind of rekindle their like friendship. I think it was mom died. It's
cheer themselves up, probably.
Yeah. And she kept going. And like her dad, like they took the class, but then she kept doing it. And then she it was interesting because years ago I talked to her about it, where she started doing, packed small churches. Her open mics were 300 people at a church, which are very, positive and supportive and whatever. So
she's got that thing.
She has it. Like she had it from day one. I mean, when she started coming here, she was 18. Like, she was just, like, she started when she was 16. She's 17, 18 now coming here. And that's when she started really doing clubs. And then she was here a bunch, but she just, I mean, everyone knew when she showed up that, like, oh, this is different. She just has this ability, and she just writes so much. And it was amazing because, like, she was here, and you just saw it all happen. And I remember... when she did her first, she went to NACA to do the National Association of College somethings that book all the colleges.
Yeah, NACA.
And she booked like 45 schools or something, and that was just like, I remember she was off to the races and just going, and we like there was a lot of communication back and forth with the friend groups and stuff. And it was just interesting because she went from like churches to like San Diego stuff to all of a sudden, boom, she was on the road, flying to this city, hopping on a bus to the next city, and hearing her stories of like, you go there, sometimes you're in like a classroom. Sometimes you're in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like in the corner of the the campus coffee shop, and no one knows or cares. And
Yeah, and so, sometimes they'll put you on in the cafeteria at noon,
right,
and like kids are in there trying to study.
yeah. And she said you're just standing on a
the worst.
6 foot by 6 foot stage doing an hour.
I did about 6 NACA gigs total, but I did 2 NACA conventions.
Yeah, which is like the audition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like all all these universities and colleges get entertainment budgets
right.
every year, and if they don't use the money, they don't get that much money the next year.
Right.
That's how it used to work. So they go, and then there's a show, and then there's all these booths with the different schools, or the entertainers. I forget which, because this was in the 90s. This is I'd say this is like 93. Yeah. I was living in San Francisco, and so it was in Sacramento, and it was the NACA for like the whole West Coast.
Right.
So there's like, oh my God, potentially hundreds of college gigs. So at this time, especially in California, there was a real demand for like ethnic diversity studies.
Right. Yeah.
And I went on after this guy, Daniel Ortiz, and he played the Peruvian flute. This guy was so smooth. He came out. He says, "My name is Daniel Ortiz. I am from Colombia, and my harp is from Peru. If you are looking for a multicultural act, I am him." And then he just he like, this guy was blindingly brilliant on this Peruvian flute, and and I had to go on after the guy
to do comedy.
Because
that's the thing is,
this guy, like these students, like lined up for this guy,
right? And they audition magic, music,
every kind of you could.
So it's not just like this is the comedy auditions.
You
go
it's
everybody.
Anywhere. Yeah. So the guy got like hundreds of colleges booked. I booked like 3. But I bought 2 of the guy's CDs, and I still put them on once in a while. They're absolutely brilliant. The guy was incredible.
Have you ever heard or seen anything
Never
of
heard
him
from the
since?
guy ever again. But like, man, he could play the shit out of a Peruvian flute or harp. I mean,
what was your journey? I mean, like, when did you start? How did comedy happen for you?
Well,
where'd you grow up? Where were you living?
Comedy chose me. I didn't choose comedy, I think, because my family's originally from Washington, D.C. My uncle did open mic night comedy for 1 year. My father took me to see him in 1978. I was 11 years old. A place called El Brookman's, one of the first places to do stand-up in Washington, D.C. And the stage was next to the entrance, and the show was in progress when we arrived. And I was wearing a Washington Redskins jacket, and the comedian on stage pulled me on stage when we entered, and he interviewed.
Because he saw your jacket.
Yeah.
He's like, this kid, get
He
up.
said, "Hey, the coach of the Redskins is here." And he pulls me on stage, and then he starts interviewing me like I'm the coach of the Redskins. And an 11-year-old bashful, dopey little kid, I just gave one-word answers. I was like, yes, no. But I'll never forget that moment, standing on that stage and seeing all those happy people with their heads thrown back in laughter. And Washington, D.C. is a very diverse city. I know I've romanticized it in my memory, but I just remember every kind of human being there. Black, white, Asian, Latino, and it just, in my mind, and that feel of those laughs, too, from being on the stage and the audience, just all these happy people laughing. From that moment on, I never wanted to do anything else in my life.
But be on stage and entertain.
But be a stand-up comedian. And so my uncle only did it for like a year, but then I became a student of stand-up comedy. And my family loved comedy. Grew up watching Johnny Carson, and then when I was in high school, it was David Letterman. And I hosted the pep rallies and the talent shows in my high school. And when I was a junior, I was 17, I heard they had opened up this comedy club in Orlando. My family moved to Orlando when I was 12. And I got a fake ID. and I went. And so,
Just to do the open mic.
yeah.
Which club was it?
At the time, it was called the Funny Farm.
Oh, interesting.
And a year later, they changed it to the Copa Banana.
The best names ever of businesses.
Yeah.
So you're 17. You're starting this thing. You have a fake ID to get in. What
So I
year
got
was it?
in, and it was just local comedians.
Yeah.
They didn't start bringing in like touring headliners until like a year or two later. So the timing was great, and it was awesome because it was so earnest that at the show they would do like a comedian, a sketch, comedian, and a sketch, and they would have rehearsals on Mondays. So you'd go to the club, and it was in the back of this big popular disco, Park Avenue in Orlando at the time. And you could bring a sketch idea. So not only would you get to do stand-up, you would be in a sketch or two. And it was fabulous. Like you just, it wasn't just limited to stand-up. People were like, oh, man, this is comedy. We're going to do skits, too. So it was really fun.
And so that definitely kind of broadened your writing in a way, I'm sure.
Well, I had the thoughts of a 17-year-old, trying to get laid in high school and stuff like that, and I had some props on my first open mic night.
What was it?
Like things I had made. And remember Family Feud?
Yeah.
Richard Dawson. It was like he's always like he's hitting on like the moms and stuff.
He was the one that used to kiss everybody, right?
Yeah. So
on the mouth.
He was kind of this
people's wives.
Yeah, he was kind of like this lech. So I did this impression of Richard Dawson at a singles bar trying to pick up a woman and hey, baby, blah, 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 blah. And then I had this piece of I made it in art class in high school. A piece of plexiglass with the X on it. Just goofy shit like that.
And did your parents know you were doing this, or was this kind of like you said they were
my
pro?
My dad
comedy?
drove me to my first open mic night, and I asked him to stay in the car. I was too embarrassed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he went with me to the second one, and he went in. And so I kind of stopped going to high school football games and weekend high school activities and just started going to this comedy club. And then my senior year in high school, when I was 18, I started doing like some one-nighters around Florida. So it was really fun.
And what year was this?
I started in 84, so this is 85. I'm starting to do one-nighters around Florida, and Florida.
And this is when comedy is about to explode? Like this,
Yeah, comedy is exploding. And then when I got out of high school, there was gigs all over the southern United States, and I started.
And you were right in. So you were at the right time as well.
Perfect, yeah.
And so 2 to 3 years in, when you've written 15 minutes, you had it, and you toured.
Yeah.
And that's a young man.
Yeah, and I moved to New York City when I was 20, and I wasn't good enough yet.
And you knew it?
Yeah, I couldn't get on it. Richard Belzer helped me get on at Catch a Rising Star. I did Dangerfields. I would do Dangerfields, and then like some one-nighters in New Jersey, Long Island, and stuff like that.
What didn't you have? Like when you say you weren't good enough, what was it?
I didn't have enough experience on stage or in life, and I moved back to Florida, licked my wounds for a year, and then when I was 22, I moved to San Francisco. And then that's where things really started to come together for me. Like
why San Francisco? What about it?
I always thought a higher intelligence of comedy came out of there. And, like...
Who were the ones that you looked up
to? Like San
to?
Diego's like a well-known, great comedy city now. There's like tons of, like you were saying.
Yeah.
At the time, I moved there in 1990. There was tons of stage time. Tons of clubs in the city, all around the Bay. And like, oh my God, I didn't have to... I could, sleep in my own bed and do lots of not be on the road constantly. And I moved here with this French woman that I had this, my first adult love story with, and then playing in front of multinational, multi-ethnic, intelligent audiences lifted my writing. Mm-hmm. And then it was great, it was Mark Maron, Patton Oswalt, Greg Proops, Margaret Cho.
So was that like
Dana
the class
Gould.
right above you, or that was
that was the people that were at the time. Yeah, that was.
I don't know. First, and I don't know if this is just because you travel. I don't know, but like you've always, and you've said it a couple times with like multinational, just multicultural. You've always been a man of culture in my mind. Like
nice, good.
like whenever we've talked about things, or like when we came up and hung out at your apartment for a while, and like you were showing us the books and the things and talking about life, it was like, oh, this guy's done shit. This guy's seen things. He's experienced people. You just got back from what was it, Thailand?
Thailand and Vietnam.
Thailand and Vietnam. So like in my mind, you're always off doing things like that. And then, like you said, you're in San Francisco, which is very multicultural and stuff like that. Why, if there is what is it about that kind of draws you to it? Or
I think,
why do you hate white people?
well, like when I would just there was a black club in Oakland that I was doing. There's a lot of like, God, in Greenbelt, Maryland. I was in my early 20s. This is Black Club, and I went on and died, and a 14-year-old Dave Chappelle went on after me and murdered.
Wow.
That year I lived in New York when I was 20, there was a great black club in New Haven, Connecticut. That was one of the best gigs I had back then. Did that a couple times. And then like in San Francisco, there was a few shows I did that were like all gay people. I don't know. I think it goes back to that first moment when I was pulled on stage when I was 11, and I see this like, just diverse audience that like to be a comedian, I always thought you should be able to make everyone laugh, not just one group of people,
right? But it feels like even in life you've made a point of broadening your horizons and seeing things and experiencing other cultures, which I think is what I mean. It'd be fantastic if everyone could and would do that, because it's, I forget the what's it, Mark Twain's quote of like travel is the I can't remember it. But
I don't know who said it, but it's impossible to have a thick passport and a narrow mind.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. But so from a young age, you were kind of just looking to like, oh, there's more to see, there's more to do, there's more to experience.
My mother's from Argentina. Maybe that having an immigrant mother, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
What was that like growing up? I mean, you grew up in D.C. What did Dad do? What did Mom do?
My dad flew helicopters in the Vietnam War and was shot down, and everyone died except for him, his co-pilot, who was knocked unconscious. He dragged to safety. He got like 5-6 medals for it. My father was killed by a drunk driver in 2009 in Anaheim, but he's buried in Arlington National Cemetery. You got to be real badass to get in there.
Yeah.
So, but then he was an insurance salesman after the war.
And so that's what brought you to DC, and then brought you to Orlando, the insurance stuff. And what did Mom do? What kind of influence?
My mom was a secretary for the Army and the Navy. Yeah,
government stuff. So it's funny. Neither of those things scream comedy to me. Neither of those things.
But my dad loved my dad loved Richard Pryor.
My
dad loved baseball and stand-up comedy, and Pryor was his dude. And I just remember driving around with my dad, listening to Richard Pryor tapes. There was no seat belts. Right. In the early 70s, I would just stand next to him, and I remember
standing on the seat.
Yeah, with my arm on and
around the shoulder. Yeah,
and feeling like his shoulders vibrate while he laughed. I always thought that was really cool.
That's so funny. That's such an unheard of concept now.
Then when I lived in L.A., this is my third time living in L.A. I never thought I'd live there again. But the second time, was it 2004, I'm thinking. Richard Pryor, for his birthday, was at the Comedy Store. And my dad was living in Anaheim, and I got us tickets, and we got to go. He was in his wheelchair. He could barely hold up the microphone. He did 20 minutes. 18 of those minutes were talking about cunnilingus, and he could barely lift the microphone. But to be with my father...
at the store,
breathing the same molecules as Richard Pryor was pretty cool.
So you're in San Francisco, you're doing all these sets, you're amongst these other rising, like you said, it's just a higher intelligence of writing and comedy just coming out of there. What happened next? I mean, where did comedy take you? What was the next move?
There was this new cable channel called Comedy Central. And I did a 2-drink minimum for them, and they loved me. I was young and skinny, and I had long hair and lots of attitude. And
you had like one of the first contracts or something.
Yeah, they signed me to the very first development deal in the history of the network. And so they were sending me to film all these different things. The Super Bowl, the Dream Team. They were just, letting me run loose with a camera. So I had the development deal, and I could do whatever I wanted with it. And in 1994, Bill Clinton lifted the travel ban for Americans that travel to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So I pitched this show idea where I would go to Vietnam and have fun for all the guys who went there and didn't get to have fun. So I went there for 2 weeks, and it aired April 95 for the 20th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. It's amazing that was 50 years ago now.
Right.
It was great. I did it to honor my dad and the veterans, and then also to show that Vietnam's a country. It's not just a war, because I grew up with Vietnam movies, and
Right, and none of it's usually ever depicted in anything but war and tragedy and sadness
for Vietnam.
Yeah, as far as Americans are concerned.
And now, they've had three wars with the Chinese since we left. There was a 22-year-old comedian that showed me around in Saigon for a couple weeks ago, and he's got no memory of the war whatsoever.
Right, because 50 years ago.
It was
a whole new generation.
A whole new generation. Doesn't cross their mind very much.
So you're on Comedy Central. You're running around with a camera. At this point, you're 20-something?
Yeah, 27, 28. And then I did... and there was a lot of press for the Vietnam thing, because it went on for Viva Vietnam, because it went on for the anniversary of the end of the war, and there was some really good press write-ups. And then that same year, I did the Montreal Comedy Festival, and I was like the belle of the ball. And then I got a development deal from NBC to make my own sitcom.
And that had to be,
So that Viva Vietnam aired in April 95, July 95, I get the development deal with NBC. And then
and what is
you
that?
always hear about pilots never being picked up. My show got picked up, and it ran 96 to 97 for a season. So
and then, what was that? You came from, originally, like you said, in Orlando. You're writing some sketch. You're writing jokes. You're learning. You moved to New York. You kind of get the mirror held up of I'm just scratching the surface of this thing. Now you're in San Francisco. You get your legs. You cut your teeth. Comedy Central, just this thing happens. You get a chance, and holy shit, you're running around with a camera. You're doing stuff. But to be handed a TV show, and is that how much power? And how much of it were they hey, we like your views, we like your ideas, just your whole thing, you go do you, tell us what you want to do, or we have an idea we think you'll fit.
Then you meet all these writers who pitch ideas.
Their ideas.
Yeah.
Was there a meeting of
that was one. That
was one of them that you were going to be.
That'd be a one joke show.
Because you were. I forget. You were a teacher.
But. Mark Brazil, a good friend of mine, and he co-created that 70s show. He co-created my show. Originally, I wanted to be a public defender lawyer.
Mm-hmm. So you had ideas.
The voice
as soon as
of the voiceless.
Okay.
I loved Barney Miller, so I thought, it could be kind of gritty like Barney Miller. I don't know, 6 months before we were going to do the pilot or something, they said there was a lawyer show that had failed, and they said, "Can you make Tom a teacher?" And I was so cocky, I thought, the job doesn't care. I'm the star, whatever. Yeah. In retrospect, there was 5 other teacher shows that came out that year. Somebody knew something. So I wish I had stuck to my original.
Could you have? You would if you would have fought for it.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it never would have gotten made. But they used 4 of my jokes for the pilot. The show was called Mr. Rhodes. I played an English teacher in a stuffy prep school. There was 4 jokes in the pilot, and then after that, for some reason, I didn't get any jokes. I was all giving nice advice to the kids and stuff.
And so, were you you weren't even getting jokes?
They'd have all these jokes. It was all these hair jokes that were because
you had long,
yeah. So it was
you
all
look like a rock star.
Hey Fabio, hey Cream Rinse, hey Kenny G. It was every script was like, oh Jesus Christ, another like.
Were you in the writing room?
No,
like that was, they didn't even let.
No. The guy who the executive producer, I'd walk into I'd bring him jokes, and he'd go, "We got that taken care of." And then they had all these people making shitty comments to me, and I go, "Look, anyone I ever considered a hero, especially a comedian, no one could top them. You say something shitty to them, and then they say something more clever." So in the script it says, Tom reacts whenever someone says something shitty to me. And I go, well, how many times can I just like shrug? And he goes, well, our test audiences show that they don't like when you come back with a zinger.
So they just want me to get your character to get beat up? I mean,
it's, you know, and I had no adult friends also on the show. I just had like student friends. So someone in like that real life, I think you should keep an eye on. No, the cast was killer, man. I had Ron Glass from Barney Miller. He was my nemesis. Stephen Tobolowsky played the principal. He was Ned Ryerson in Groundhog's Day. Mm-hmm. He was Mississippi Burning. He's on
he's done
Californication. Right. Like one of the greatest character actors of all time.
What is it about? I mean, that's the story of like what happened with yours. Like if you were driving, I mean, that's the thing is you never know whether anything's actually gonna work. But as far as TV shows and stuff like that. So let's say even if you were driving the show, which it's interesting to me and it seems very Hollywood for them to be like, we love everything about you. We want to give you a shot. We have an idea. Because if they're giving you a development deal, they're really being like, it's everything you're shining. Your whole vibration is what we're buying. And then as soon as they buy it, they're like, we're going to let these people drive. And it feels like that happens so much in the Hollywood story where it's like they get the creative and then they hand it over to somebody else to then steer this guy's ship.
You know, there was like after Montreal, there was like kind of a bidding war between Fox and NBC, and Fox was offering more money, and I went with NBC because to me, NBC was American comedy.
Right.
Johnny Carson, Letterman, SNL, all these brilliant sitcoms that I grew up with. So I really wanted to knock it out of the park for NBC. And the executives and Warren Littlefield, I've heard people say he was beautiful to me, and he was cheering for me. And Shelley McCrory, the executive that discovered me in Montreal, their notes every week, they've kind of felt the same way I did. They were like every week, they were like, more Tom. We want more Tom. And then like the writers, they had all these like holiday episodes. And I've learned it since when a show is starting to do holiday episodes, it means they've run out of ideas. So this was,
but they never came asking.
This was the first season. We did a Valentine's show. We did a Thanksgiving show.
Was that just because it gave them stuff to do with the kids?
Show. Did a Christmas episode where, everyone goes with their English teacher on a ski trip for Christmas. So,
I love the fact that
there was like an
that idea right now couldn't even get made.
There was like an avalanche. We were stuck there for Christmas. I mean, there was a lot of
you and a bunch of students, no parents.
No.
Yeah, that show wouldn't even get made today. That's
it was just a couple of teachers. Yeah.
So all in all, I mean, did you?
But so I really, it was it was tough because I truly like NBC. I felt like I was playing for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I mean that's the big. You can't go any bigger.
And I wanted to be Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio.
How long into that process? Like, did you like at some point lose? Like you were like, this just isn't. Like,
I mean, it's it's always the next script. It's always you're living under the promise of this next script that's going to come and you'll be happy. But I don't know. I guess it was about halfway through I realized, But yeah.
How did you take it? I mean, how old? You were 24?
No, I was 29.
29.
Yeah, and then I turned 30 while the second half of the season was on.
And then what? I mean, did you have to kind of stop doing? I mean, because you shot for what's it shoot for? 4 months, 6 months?
Yeah, like yeah, August, like March.
Yeah.
5 months.
Do you? I mean,
6
does all of a sudden like because of this is your whole life, and now you're not doing comedy?
I mean, I was
as
still
much, or
doing
you're-
stand up where I could. On
Yeah.
on you film for 2 weeks and then you have a week off. It's
Oh, okay.
That's how they did it in the 90s. It was difficult because when it ended, a lot of people I thought were my friends stopped taking my call, and
Is that just Hollywood shit?
Hollywood shit. I
mean, you've been in it. I
A
mean,
year
for-
later, William Morris, that was my agency, dropped me, and just it was just pretty cold.
How'd you do with that?
Because I lived in New York City like a dog. I mean, I was angry at showbiz. I was angry at humanity. Because I had lived in New York City like a dog when I was 20, I always swore if I ever had any money, I'd live in New York City with style. So I moved back to New York City, and I got a rock star apartment in the Wall Street area. And I went there just to focus on stand-up. And it was great because then the Comedy Cellar, which I'm still in with them to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Back then it was you could smoke in there, and it was like a smoky jazz club. New York was really exciting. And then I also looked at the money I had as my NBC artist grant. So Rich Hall is a great old friend of mine. He had gotten in with London, and he thought I would do really well over there. So I started taking trips to London, and he coached me on how to get in. You don't go to the best clubs first. You go over there, and first you do sets at the peripheral clubs and find your sea legs, find what works, what doesn't work. What are your strong?
Because it's different. It's a different.
Well, like a joke that's a medium laugh here might be an applause break screamer over there. And then a joke that usually destroys here might just be a medium laugh over there. So you don't know until you're...
Were you when you went to New York to live like a rock star? I mean, yeah, you had season 1 NBC development deal money.
No, I had a full season money.
Right.
I had the development deal
and full season
and
money.
full season money.
Were you smart enough to like plan that out of like, listen, I can move to New York. This if I make no other money.
No, if I was smart, I would have moved back to San Francisco and bought some property.
There you go.
Because my ex-girlfriend bought the apartment we lived in, the top floor of this old Victorian place. It's worth like $6 million now.
Yeah.
She rents it out for like $6,000 a month. She's set.
She's
for
doing
life.
fine.
I moved there, and Mitch Hedberg was one of my best friends. He's staying at the Chelsea, so I was running around. And then Dave Attell was a good friend of mine. Still is a good friend of mine, I hope. Hard drinker, going to like late night dive bar.
Yeah.
Great, like wormholes that only he knew about. And
What's funny about him is now that he doesn't drink, he still does that. It's just food.
Yeah, that's good.
I did a weekend with him here, and we finished the late show. And by the time we got done with, like, he was doing meet and greets and stuff, and by the time we got done, it was like 1:30 in the morning. He's like, there's a cheesesteak place over here I want to check out. Come on, let's go.
Nice.
And he ordered everything. He didn't order like, I'm going to get a cheesesteak. He ordered, whatever 3 of the appetizers, and I want a cheesesteak, and I want the chicken cheesesteak, and I want it. And he's like, what do you want? I'm like, what are you doing? It's really funny. He's such a generous guy.
Yeah, because I don't drink and
did
party
you ever?
anymore.
You did, though.
No, I drank like a fish. I was like, just hard drinking with Attell, doing, fucking coke and ecstasy and acid with Hedberg. There's that Rolling Stones lyric I identify with greatly from that period. My brains have been splattered all over Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Which at that time, that city was a pretty good time.
Yeah, especially, ecstasy, 99, 2000. Yeah. Wow. So getting in with London led to gigs all over. I started going to London regularly and playing. And that was exciting on a whole different level. And then it was fun drinking with those people and the audiences. And That led to gigs around England and around Europe. And then I played in Amsterdam, and I fell in love with a Dutch woman, and I moved there for her. So the story I always tell is I was partying so hard when I lived in New York City, I actually moved to Amsterdam to bring it down a notch.
Which is usually not the way that goes.
Which is actually true.
Now, so you're doing like, it's interesting. You fell in love and just picked up and went.
Yeah.
Which at that point, though, you had built enough of a network within Europe that was working for you.
Well, it was a whole new world, you know.
And comedically, did you enjoy it, or did you like it more than the States at that point? Were you getting better traction?
I think to be a great comedian, you know, you got to have experiences to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, oh, wow, it's all these new experiences, all these new countries, all these
new people
and comedians from different countries. That was exciting. Just beautiful people.
And love of a woman.
Yeah. But I was still drinking and partying heavily, and she was from a small town and village in Holland, and she wanted to settle down and have a family. So I was a little too rock and roll Johnny Dragstrip for her, and she broke up with me. And then I was about to move back to the United States when these people from this Dutch television network saw me performing at Toomler. That's the best club in Amsterdam. And they were looking for an American to host a late-night talk show.
Why is that? Why?
They had tried it with Dutch people, and it didn't work. It didn't have the same pizzazz or confidence.
And there's just something about that, the Western American, something that just adds enough of a twist to...
I guess, but for whatever reason. But they had given the guy a name before they found him. So it was going to be called the Kevin Masters Late Night Show.
So it was all a show? Like it wasn't...
But no, because I got to be myself.
But you were Kevin Masters.
And then no one understood. So like the second season, it was called Kevin Masters starring Tom Rhodes. It was very confusing. Yeah. But I could be myself.
Yeah.
You know?
And what was it? I mean, it was just a late night talk. So you were having...
So it's weird because on the sitcom I played Tom Rhodes, but I wasn't really myself.
Right. And now you're Kevin Masters.
Then I go to Holland and I'm Kevin Masters and I totally get to be myself. So I'm hoping the next show, the porridge will be just right.
That sounds so Hollywood. So the show itself, though, it's just a late night local talk show?
No, it was all over Holland.
Okay. So it was a big show.
Yeah, there was only like the States used to be. There was only like 4 channels. You know, it was incredible because I grew up worshiping Carson.
So you
Letterman, and so to be the guy coming out from behind the big curtain in like
it was your curtain,
$2,000 suit, stand on the X, do like a 5-minute monologue, sit down, banter with my musical sidekick.
How much control did you have there? Like monologue jokes?
That was great. I could write the monologue jokes. Staff people would help me. They'd bring me the news. They'd clip out weird news stories from the Dutch newspapers, and then they would read me the stories. So and whatever, you know. So some of the staff contributed, but then I got to get a lot of jokes in the monologue. And
then you're interviewing
Dutch celebrities,
which is interesting. Did you know them? I mean, at that point you lived there some.
Golden Earring. I had Barry Hay on, the lead singer of Radar Love. You know that song.
I don't know. I'm a younger man.
I've been driving all night. My hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel. It's my baby calling, say I need you here.
I don't know.
When it's 4:30 and I'm shifting gears. You know that song.
I don't know if
when I'm getting lonely and I feel I've had enough.
Do you think it... I don't know if you ever had that, but like, I mean, the fact that you got to start interviewing all these...
We got a thing, and it's called Radar Love. You know that song.
That sounds familiar to me.
And they also did, their other big song was Twilight Zone. I'm living in the Twilight Zone. Anyway. But the best part of the show was every episode I would every aspect of Dutch culture was explained to me.
Through the show.
Yeah, and then they were also like, the charm of the show was I was a foreigner experiencing Dutch culture. So every episode I would make a 5-minute film where I would experience something of Dutch culture, like I spent a day with a Dutch farmer. with the wooden shoes and shoveling cow shit. And
Tell me about the wooden shoes. Educate all of us. That's a normal thing. They wear the wooden shoes.
It's a marshy, like
land.
Yeah, they've reclaimed the sea. They say that God made the world, but the Dutch made the Netherlands, because it's it was called the lowlands. It was all marshy, shitty water that they started making canals and shifting land and drying it and putting long.
And so the shoes were, the purpose of those was because to walk through the marshes, you couldn't have anything that was going to soak up
the slightly muddy earth.
That was good for growing crops.
Yeah, some crops. Yeah, they grow a lot. Yeah, they grow a lot of flowers there too.
That's right. They're known for like the
April's a great time to go. Check out Coconut. Yeah, it's this big, beautiful tulip area. But yeah, I got to do. It was like having this magic passport to the Netherlands. I got to do things that Dutch people would never get to do.
How did that go? And that was after, like, move there because you fell in love, heartbreak, TV show.
Yeah.
Was there any part of you that was like, look at me now?
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than doing a TV show in the country of the girl who just dumped you, and your poster is on the bus stop while she's in the rain waiting for the bus.
Not many people get that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how long did that show go?
That lasted for 2 years, and then when that ended, the same network had a travel program, and they were unhappy with one of the presenters. And for one season, I got to be a presenter on this travel show called You're in Travel. So that was awesome. So I was I lived in Amsterdam for 5 years, and I was on TV for 3. And I got on the travel show, I got to do a highlight on Peru, St. Petersburg, Russia, the Dutch Caribbean, Antwerp, the coastal beach area of France in the summer, La Touquette. Incredible. It was awesome.
And then that's still writing, still doing comedy?
Yeah, and still doing stand-up. Because I would only do one assignment every month or two.
And then you're just bouncing around Europe
and living
doing shows.
Doing shows all over Europe, back and forth to London a lot, mostly. And then I would come back to the States and do my main clubs that I love, like the San Francisco Punchline, Acme, Minneapolis. I wanted to keep my American comedy muscle strong,
Was that definitely something that the like you said, when you went over there, you start in the smaller clubs just to figure out what the shift is?
But like London,
Well, what about like London to Amsterdam? What's the shift there?
There was only a couple clubs in Amsterdam.
But comedically, are they very
totally different?
Okay.
Totally different. No, because English isn't their first language. The Dutch.
Okay.
And they a lot of times they can be laughing on the inside.
They're just like that kind of people where they're
they can be like a theater audience sometimes, But when you make
they're just smiling and nodding, and at the end of the show is when they tell you how great it was. But during it, you're wondering.
But it's not always like that. It's always a big shock when American comedians go to Holland and like, oh my God, like, oh no, they,
And is that just cultural? Like even in their day-to-day lives, they're just not big, expressive laughers?
I think they're pretty stoic, introverted people. They're not like Americans. They say Americans will tell you their whole life story within the first 2 minutes of meeting them, which is normally true.
Yeah.
And they also say Americans always wear white tennis shoes. And always wear shirts or sweatshirts with the name of where they're from on it. So Dutch people, you'd have to know a Dutch person for like a long time before they open up to you and tell you details about
Why do you think that is? What's the culture? Why is that?
I don't know. They're not as desperate as Americans. And they always say Americans talk too loud on the trams and buses.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something I hear about anytime you're traveling abroad. They're like, don't be American. Like, nobody else wants to hear your conversation. don't be loud.
Well, I've
don't
seen
be
it
over
a
the
lot
top.
over there too, in Amsterdam or London or wherever, and it's almost like they're thinking, well, "Hey, look at me, I'm special.
Because they're American.
I'm talking really loud," and they're usually, whatever.
And that's interesting. So that translates into the actual laughter in the club too, where Americans are just letting it all out.
No. I mean, no, and they grew up with American culture. There's people who know more about, American government or American hip hop, whatever. There people are smart there.
Mm-hmm.
And Belgium too. Everywhere they've all grown up with American culture. The Dutch audiences can be great. You just they like when you reveal something of yourself.
That's interesting. Like when you actually share and you're real.
Yeah. They like stories. Like England, a lot of the comedians are self-deprecating. They shit on themselves. In Ireland, all the Irish comedians are storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
They come from a long storytelling tradition. In Holland, a lot of the comedians do one-man shows every year where they'll write a show and, have some big...
And it's more theatric in a way? Is that what you mean?
Or just that it builds up to something.
Okay.
Usually there's a surprise ending, but there's some kind of emotional investment, like something that happened to them that gave them...
And that's what the theme of that story gets to.
Yeah, I think Europe in general. That's not true. There's stand-up comedy everywhere now. So,
Has it changed since then? Like when you go back,
there's comedy clubs all over Holland now.
Yeah,
in Belgium too. There's tons of stand-up comedy.
Has it shifted their behavior? Like, are they different now than they were when you first went over there? In London, in Amsterdam? Has the Western version of comedy like infiltrated?
Oh no! I mean, it's like here. There's a percentage of great comedians, and then there's a percentage of average comedians, and then there's some that shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah.
I always hate like Jesus. Like in England or Australia, people are like, "Oh, I prefer British comedy to American comedy." I think there's great and there's shit in both.
Yeah.
So
you're in Amsterdam, TV show, travel, late night show, then a travel show. When did the move happen from Amsterdam, and where'd you go back to?
And then I moved back to Los Angeles.
Why LA?
My dad was living there, and in retrospect, I got to spend a lot of time with my dad those couple of years. And now that he's no longer, I think that was the best part about that period. But I was starting to do international stuff. I wasn't home very much. I was starting to play in Sydney, Australia twice a year, doing gigs around Australia. I'd just put everything into storage. I didn't live anywhere for 10 years after that second LA
I think I remember
experience.
you telling me that. Yeah, you literally just put it in
People would
storage.
ask me, where do you live? And I would say, in these shoes. Because I would do like 3 or 4 months a year in Europe, a month in Asia, a month in Australia, and then 3 or 4 months scattered all over the
you're
U.S.
just
and
staying
Canada.
with friends, finding apartments?
Living
out of hotels?
A lot of the gigs, offered hotels. And then in the off times, hotel or Airbnb was just the early years when that was.
That's it. When you don't have a place, and I only spent a year doing this, not even. I spent half a year, 6 months. I spent 6 months living out of my truck when I first started being a comic. I was driving around the country, and everything I was responsible for and owned fit in my truck. If I had to, I could sleep in the back. If I couldn't, couch surf or stay with friends in some city that I was in.
Right.
But when every night you're sort of there's like or I shouldn't say every night, but when every 3 nights you're gonna have to find another place
to park and
to sleep and to find the friends or the comic, or that comic has a couch but I'm going to this city next. Do I know anyone in that city? Is anyone available to couch surf? And that's it. One, it was the most fun 6 months of my life, but I also felt like I lived 5 years of life in 6 months.
Yeah.
Because you're just forced to, every day is an adventure. Those 10 years had to feel like that in a way. Like, that's a lot of living.
Well, it was pretty great. A couple years into that, I met this other woman in Holland who I ended up marrying. We're divorced now, but she's still my best friend. And I told her when we got together, I said, if you want to be with me, you got to reduce your life to 1 checked bag and 2 carry-ons. And then 3 years in a row, we went to Rome and rented an Airbnb apartment. Actually, sleepinitaly.com. And it was great. The first time went to Rome, did all the touristy things, and then the next 2 times pretended like we lived there. And I was still drinking heavily, and, I love prosciutto. And then in Asia, we a couple years when we finished here, we would go to Bali and rent a place. So because we didn't live anywhere, we decided we could live wherever we wanted on the off weeks.
And the comedy was affording this life?
Yeah. I did a month in New Zealand, did the New Zealand Comedy Festival, and then their Best of the Fest tour. So, yeah, it was like only certain hunks of time off, and then San Francisco and New Orleans when we were in the States and had chunks of time off when I wasn't visiting my mother or father.
Were you? It doesn't sound like. I mean, was the drinking a problem,
No,
or you were kind of able just to drink? Like you've used the term drinking heavily a few times.
I always thought to be a comedian, you had to be the life of the party. So I mean, I was always had a beer on stage. But yeah,
do you still agree with that?
No.
Was there any moment where you're like, I don't have to keep doing this?
Yeah, well, not to, bring your podcast down.
There's no down or up. It's all part of the experience. So,
my father was killed by a drunk driver in 2009, and then a year and a half later, my little sister, who I was very close with, died of breast cancer, 2011.
Right. Yeah.
So 2012, 2013, I had stopped drinking for pleasure. I was so heartbroken. I was just like, just really guzzling booze.
So it wasn't about being the life of the party. It was
it was numbing the heartbreak at that point. And then January 2nd, 2014, I was in Philadelphia and I blacked out and fell off of a bar stool, busted my head open on tile floor. I got this nice scar. And then the next day, I saw so much ugliness in the mirror. I had a black eye and I had these Frankenstein stitches and I had this like bloated white guy alcoholic face and like, starting to get the bulbous nose. And, I thought being a drinker partier is like being an athlete, There comes a point where you're just not as good as you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of years, I wasn't as good at it.
Well, you were living in a world, I mean, your early days in comedy, I mean, really all of your days in comedy up until that, but like you had friends. I mean, you're talking about Attell ended up getting sober because he was just out of hand. You have friends that died. You had friends that, whether it was drugs or booze or the combination of both and stuff like that. Why is that the lifestyle? Why do you think that's such
I don't think it is now. I think younger generation.
It's definitely gone away.
People, I remember doing that Dave Attell, what was it? He did the stand-up show on Comedy Central.
Last Call.
And I did it with Ali Wong. And he interviewed her and I together in this booth. And I'm sitting there and I got a beer. And she had like a grass thing, like a grass green.
A grasshopper.
No. Like a green health drink.
Oh, okay.
Made from grass,
wheatgrass or whatever,
wheatgrass or something.
Not booze.
Yeah, no. So I think I think that's an older generation thing. I think younger people are being fit and healthy and wanting to look good on the social media.
Do you think that's what's driving it? Some portion
know.
of it. But yeah, it's interesting to look back because the heyday
that
of
sad
comedy.
Clown shit is over, James.
You think so? You think the sad clown's done? Now it's all positivity and
Yeah.
I mean, how does that change comedy? Like I definitely feel like I'm in this 12 years now, and it has been a positive group. Like the guys, the classes before us in the San Diego scene really were like a number of them. Some of them are full blown alcoholics, but like they were drinking hard. The group of us when we started, there were a couple that drank. But it wasn't like, I remember like looking up to these other classes and these guys that you did look up to comedically because they were 3-5 years ahead of you, 9 years ahead of you, and they were incredible while you're writing you're doing 8 minutes and doing all right. There you can see them do 35 and they've got, it's like that admiration. But then you also are like, that guy's drunk every day.
Yeah.
That guy's drunk on stage every day. And like my class definitely didn't have that. But I remember that scared me. And I think it was just interesting because then you look at like your heroes and the fact that so many people got into comedy thinking like, no, that's what you have to be. That's what it is. If you they would look up to all these comics from the 80s and be like, no, like you're supposed to be a fucking complete mess of a human.
Or just a, party or lunatic.
Yeah. But you lived that. I mean, you were around that. That was all around you. Mm-hmm. And you just were able to keep it under wraps. You could just be.
No, I mean, it took me busting my head open in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Before I made a change, but that's one of the best things that ever happened to me. I wish it would have happened 10 years sooner.
And now you're totally sober, or how did you put it?
I'm totally sober with the exception of a little puff of a jazz cigarette once in a while.
What's California sober, as they call it?
That's what they call it.
Yeah. Tell me this: is it something where in your mind you're like, that's over? Like, do you think?
Yeah, I got no desire to drink. There's been a couple times where I've been in Paris or Rome and thought, man, a little glass of wine would be nice.
But it's more than this. It's more the activity of it than the actual effects of it.
I have no
right?
desire. Yeah, and I have no desire to do coke or ecstasy or any hard drugs ever again. So
I never got into it.
Yeah, good. You're a family guy. It's probably not
now.
Yeah.
Thank
not
God.
a good time to start doing meth.
That's the thing. Like, there's part of me. It's like, God damn it! I was supposed to do this stuff when I was in my 20s, and I didn't. And now I'm 40, and I'm like,
no,
you can't start doing ecstasy now.
No, there's not too many.
Really? I didn't miss out?
You didn't miss nothing. Yeah. No.
I don't know. Every music festival documentary says otherwise because I see all these young people half naked running around dancing all night long.
They're not happy, James.
You don't think so?
It's a mask. The nudity, the joy, they're masking some inner pain.
Well, I have that. I still have the inner pain. No, I'm probably better off. I don't know. I think now I look back and realize I definitely have I think I have like an addictive personality for sure. Because I've definitely I didn't drink casually. I drank like college for me was like binge drinking, and I wasn't good at it. That's what I've really just come to realize. I'm not good at drinking. And it's food, it's booze. If a little bit is good, a lot must be better.
Have more now. That used to be my slogan.
that was you.
Yeah, have more now. That's what I would always say.
Well, yeah, that was my thing in college.
Well, you're talking about a tail order and all that food.
Yeah.
Food has replaced a lot of the substances. I agree with that. Having great food is and clarity is a drug unto itself, really.
Yeah, better sleep, clarity, not wondering who. The amount of times, and it's not a ton. It sounds like
I'm irritated around really drunk people.
I can't. Yeah,
really drunk people.
But when you were drunk, it all worked, right?
Yeah.
Everyone could be at the party, but now it's interesting being the sober one, and then that one person's really drunk.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't.
Just people repeating the same stories, hitting the P sound, and getting spittle all over your face. They're like 2 inches from you, and You know. Oh my God, and not having to deal with asshole bartenders who pretend like they don't see you. That was the worst. So now I'm so glad I don't.
It is an easier existence, not drinking.
Yeah, I have the superpower where I can drive home at any time of day or the night now. So
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Anytime. I can leave.
Yeah.
I can just leave. I don't have to call somebody. I don't have to ask somebody. So you're married.
No,
You're bouncing around. I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm backing up. You're married. You're bouncing around the world, living anywhere and nowhere all at once. You end up back in L.A.
Yeah, 10 years ago I moved back to Los Angeles, and I like it now. I think it's one of the best cities in the world now.
Why is that? Because I don't
got
hear
everything.
that often.
Nature, the beach, the clubs are great. Probably not as much stage time as there is in San Diego, but
I think it depends.
I like
on the
being
world.
around all these great comedians too. Like at the Comedy Store, like seeing Bill Burr, Chappelle, Chris Rock when they're in town, Byron Bowers, Mark Maron all the time. It's so many brilliant comedians.
Yeah, I feel lucky that I was here when kind of the rebirth of the store. The store like boomed. It was all right up until COVID, it was going nuts.
Yeah.
And I had friends that had moved up, and they were door guys there. So I only went up a few times, but being able to go up and just sit in the back of the room and watch the greatest comics of our day work out was the best comedy education anyone could get.
When I'm doing a set there, I'll usually show up an hour or two before.
Just to watch.
Just to watch. I love jokes.
Yeah.
I love, well-crafted sentences and funny, creative people. So, and I always stick around. I'm always watching. I love it.
What's next? Is there a next? How do you look at the whole thing? Like, is there steps? Is there a plan? Is there or is it like, no, this is, and I ask this as someone that I feel has lived more life than a lot of people because of the experiences and things you've done. I think there's a lot of comics that just fall into like, I work the clubs, I go to the thing, I fly in, I come home. That's my life. That's all, doing all that all over the world, as well as being, like you said, like, I'm going to take a month and we're going to live in Rome. We're going to go here. We're going to go there.
I grew up with comedy albums, and like the gatekeepers of showbiz. I haven't done a special. I did a Netflix special that wasn't a Netflix original, so it was on Netflix for 3 years. Now it's on Amazon Prime. Wasn't that crazy about that special? I was still drinking at the time, so that was like 2013.
Has your comedy gotten better?
I think so. Yeah, I'm sharper, and I've got there's more going on in my mind while I'm telling a joke.
It's clearer.
The chamber of jokes or stories are clear in my mind.
Would you have to? Was it a thing for you where you were like, no, I need to be a little, I don't know if drunk's the word, but like a few drinks in to go on? Not that you had to, but like, no, like if I'm going to be the life of the party, I should already have a buzz on.
I just never thought twice about having I would never have more than one before I went on. I mean, there were a few circumstances.
Yeah.
So a few late shows that I probably had too much to drink, but not always. I've always tried to be very professional. But there was a point that I was going to make where
you said that you're clearer, you're sharper now. You had the Netflix thing, but you didn't really like it because you were still drinking then.
So for specials now, like people are making their own specials and putting them on YouTube, and I have one that I'm putting up for YouTube or like on my website that I'll sell for $5, whatever. It's a great killer hour special that I filmed in Minneapolis at Acme last summer. But so that's like my first step in putting my toe in that water. What I was going to say was the people who've controlled the specials I've only done one. I did 2 Comedy Central half hours and then that Netflix special that's now on Amazon Prime. But the thing that I've been able to control is putting out my own albums. So I think I put out 6, 7 comedy albums. I put out 2 clean albums and like 5 regular albums. Mm-hmm. So I like doing that. I like working on, I think all we have to leave when we die, the art that we made in our life is all we have to leave behind. So I love making comedy albums, and I can control that, and I own them. I don't have to. It's not like you do a special and then you sign away all the rights. But I would love a few million from Netflix. I'd sell them the rights to that. But and I believe my best television show, whatever that is in my future. I wrote an idea for an animated movie with my ex-wife, who does a lot of creative projects with me. My best friend, rather. So we're tightening that up. So I can't tell you anything about it at the moment, but just being creative makes me happy.
Yeah.
Whether it's painting a painting or whatever, doing a podcast.
Every time I hear about somebody that's married that starts trying to become a comedian, I'm like, your poor wife.
Yeah.
And
I always tell people, be home for the important days, birthdays, important holidays. You can't miss too many of those.
Yeah. It's been an interesting, my daughter's 7 now, and I definitely feel like I've made the decision of like, you're not going to be doing as much comedy because
otherwise
I'm missing and I only get half the time.
Yeah.
Because our mom and I aren't, we're not together. So I only get half the time.
Wow.
And if I only get half the bedtimes, I'm not missing a bedtime.
Right.
So that's been kind of like a hard change of like, 50% of the nights are off the calendar for comedy.
Right.
But I've never had more fun than being a dad. And I feel like that's part of the living.
And a lot of human experience that you can talk about.
Right. But I also wonder, like, I don't know how I can date somebody. I'd have no clue how to bring somebody, one, into the world of being a stepdad where half my life is off the table, and also into a world where I'm like, hey, best case scenario, I'm trying to leave this town and be on the road every time I'm available for you. Working on the thing. You got an animated thing you're writing. That's wonderful. Albums. As far as albums go, when do you know when to record? When in your mind, like, do you feel like, this hour is not going to get any tighter, or like, what's your mark?
Well, I'm about to put out another clean album, and so I've just been doing. When I do the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, they prefer if you work clean there. So I like using that place as a place to try out clean material. And I never wanted to do clean material, until like the last, 10 years. I think it's harder to come up with clever, clean stuff. And you do short sets at the Comedy Magic Club. And so I always try and have like a little new 2 to 5 minute hunk of new clean material. So yeah.
And what changed, or what made you try to do the first one? Like, why was there all of a sudden like, that's a goal of mine?
Jack Vaughn, who is the president of comedy for SiriusXM, said we need clean comedy more than we need anything. He said, make me a clean album. I did my first clean album at the La Jolla Comedy Store. I recorded all the shows, and then the same thing, like between the pillars of my regular stuff or stuff that might be dirty or too risque or whatever, I did hunks of clean material. So I just cut out the little...
okay. So you didn't record it as a full clean...
I recorded the whole show, and then I
grabbed the clean bits.
Grabbed the clean bits, and that was my first clean comedy record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard it done like that. In my mind, it's like, no, if it's a full clean hour, you're going to do a full clean hour. But I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, very cool. Tom, I'm so glad you came
James,
by.
I love you to
Buddy,
death, man.
Tell me this. What is something you wish you knew? What if you could tell your 20-year-old self something, what would you tell him?
Stop smoking. Stop drinking. Don't be so hard on yourself. I think that's the main thing. I think comedians are really hard on themselves.
What was that like for you? What was the inner, like, it was just the inner monologue? What was it?
Yeah, always. It's just, you always you could have a killer set and like, oh, that one joke didn't work. Comedians are always looking for ways. There's a woman in Houston, and she lived in LA. I don't know. Her name is Joni Coyote. I don't know if she still does stand up. Maybe. I always thought she was great, but she lived. I saw her in Houston. It's back when the Laugh Stop was still there, and I used to play there with Hedberg. He and I used to co-headline there. Great local Houston comedy scene. And there was a strange night, and I saw her have a really tough set. And she got off, and then I was talking to her at the bar, and I go, "Hey, Joni, that was a good set. Keep your chin up or whatever." And she didn't seem that shaken up about it. I go, "You don't see." I go, she was like, well, "No big deal." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay. Well, I would, probably be feeling like shit."
Yeah.
And she said, "I was a doorman at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles for 2 years when she first started on stand-up." And she said, "I used to watch these comedians that I loved, people I thought were geniuses, and they'd go up, and every one of these comedians, after their sets, were beating themselves up, like, oh, that one joke didn't work, or oh, look." And she said, I promised myself that I would never do that, no matter, So I always think that's always a great thing to keep in mind, that all comedians beat themselves up mentally, and I
think that's an artist thing. Is that? Do you think that's?
I don't know, but I mean, it's unnecessary. You're going to get to the same place without. I mean, I'm still trying to, get rid of worry and stress and shit. Yeah. But it's be your own best friend, and I think the advice I would give my 20-year-old self is, and I've given a lot of young comedians this advice, that I think you have to be your own best corner man. In boxing, you have a corner man. Muhammad Ali's corner man for his entire career was Bundini Brown. He's the man who came up with the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee line. So, he was his corner man, and he's the one telling him, you stay off the ropes, champ. Keep your gloves up. Throw the jab. Keep swinging. So you got to be that guy for your own self in your own mind. If you're on stage, a waitress drops some drinks, or just get heckled, or it's a shitty crowd on a shitty night, or for whatever reason happens, you got to go on after, Chris Rock does an hour and ends with a standing ovation. Whatever the situation is, stay focused. And I boxed when I was younger. They tell you to breathe through your nose. It focuses you. But you got to be your own best corner man and go like, that joke was great. Don't show them any fear. Reset, reload, and give them the next one.
Give them the next one. What would you tell your younger self about love?
I don't know. It's exciting. I'm glad I've had a lot of great love stories with. I'm the man I am today because of the amazing women who've been in my life. So, and I've been the Evel Knievel of love. I've taken a lot of great risks that have ended in painful disasters.
It's so worth it, though.
It is. It is. It really is.
I always felt like this sounds weird, but like even young, like I felt like it was just easier. Like I'm just gonna just open up and be this complete softy and just fall head over heels. And every time I got run over by a Mack truck, but I was like, man. But before that,
it felt great.
So good
until the truck hit.
Yeah, the truck hit, and that was a lousy day, but yeah, it's so worth it. What was I'm just trying like I love kind of like think of just like very human things that like we all share, because that's like kind of my goal is just like to talk about life and things and just have people realize that like, oh, I feel that way too. Oh, I'm I'm not alone. If you had to, if it's an easy one, what was like the best kiss? Do you have a memory of like, no, there was this one night in this one place, da 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 da?
Well, my first kiss.
Oh, that's always a good one.
There was this boy on my little league team.
Hey,
I love starting the story like that. He had a sister, and it was 4th of July. I was staying at this kid's house, and then they had fireworks at the little local little league
the park
complex.
Yeah.
And me and this girl went off to a little side dugout and kissed. We didn't know how to do it, but like the fireworks were going off, and to this day, sometimes when I kiss, I still see fireworks.
It's beautiful. Yeah, there's something about those first ones though. There's something about those early days when nobody knows what they're doing.
Kissing is number 1 on my happiness list.
Oh,
yeah.
It's on literally. Like I've kind of forced myself to get on the dating apps, and literally, it's like kissing is my love language. Like if you don't want to make out, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
So I get it. Well, thanks, Tom. Thanks
you,
for shining a light on the world, man.
Yeah, buddy. Hooray for humanity.
Hooray for humanity. I love it.
I love you, brother.
All right. We'll have some great shows tonight. I'm so excited.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Boom.